So picture this. You wake up, and there is water literally pouring through your living room ceiling.
Oh no, an absolute nightmare.
Right. It is a total disaster. So you panic call a plumber, and they show up an hour later in a branded van. They assess the damage, fix the pipe, and then they just hand you a tablet.
Just tap your card and it's done.
Exactly. You tap your credit card, you sign the digital invoice, and you are just so relieved the crisis is over. But what you probably didn't realize in that moment of chaos is that the entire process was running on one invisible software engine.
From the very second you made that frantic phone call.
Right. The dispatch routing that sent the van, the payment processing at the end, all of it. So today, we are taking a deep dive into this hidden architecture of the everyday world.
It really is hitting too. People never think about the software running a plumbing business.
Never. And our mission today is to unpack a summer 2026 investor presentation. This is for the first quarter of fiscal year 2027 from a company called ServiceTitan.
And their motto is born in the trades, built for the trades.
Yeah, which is super catchy. And we're going to examine the staggering scale of the market they address, how this platform fundamentally alters the way a contractor does business, and, the financial engine driving their growth.
It is a remarkable business to analyze, honestly, because, they've taken an industry that historically relied on whiteboards, physical Rolodexes, carbon copy invoices.
So much manual data entry.
Exactly. Deeply fragmented manual processes. And they've built this enterprise-grade ecosystem for it. We're looking at a platform purpose-built for specialty subcontractors.
We're talking plumbing, electrical, HVAC, pest control, roofing, landscaping.
Yeah, all of those. It essentially serves as the digital bedrock for the businesses that fix and maintain the physical world around you.
And we really need to start by looking at the sheer scale of that digital bedrock, because the numbers in this Q1 presentation are just massive.
They really are.
Looking at their financial highlights, ServiceTitan generated $269 million in total quarterly revenue, and that represents a 25% year-over-year growth rate.
Which is incredibly healthy for a company of this size.
For sure. They're also operating with intense efficiency. They're boasting an 81.3% non-GAAP platform gross margin and a 15.2% non-GAAP operating margin.
Which basically means they're very profitable on the core software they sell.
Right. But the metric that absolutely stopped me in my tracks was their gross transaction volume, or GTV. In just this single quarter, ServiceTitan processed $22 billion in GTV.
That's billion with a B. Just in one quarter.
Yeah, up 23% year over year. To put that in perspective, $22 billion a quarter is roughly $88 billion a year flowing through their software.
It's a staggering amount of money.
I was thinking about an analogy for this. ServiceTitan isn't just an app, right? It's almost like the iOS or Windows of the trades.
That's a great way to put it.
You don't buy the operating system, you buy the plumbing or the electrical work, but the OS makes the whole transaction happen. It's the digital equivalent of a general contractor, a bookkeeper, and a bank manager sitting in the passenger seat of every white van on the road.
I love that visual. And that $22 billion figure is the key to understanding this entire company.
How so?
Well, GTV represents the total dollars invoiced by their customers through the platform. It proves that ServiceTitan is deeply embedded in the actual money-making flow of these businesses.
So it's not just some side tool they use occasionally.
Right. In the software world, it is very easy to build a lightweight administrative tool that sits on the periphery of business, like a basic calendar app or a simple digital ledger.
Sure, something nice to have, but not critical.
Exactly. But when you are processing the equivalent of a small country's GDP through iPads and plumbing vans, your software is not an administrative afterthought. Every single dollar that flows from a homeowner into the contractor's bank account goes directly through ServiceTitan.
Okay, so if they are moving $88 billion a year, it naturally makes you wonder, how big is the total pool of money out there?
Right, what's the ceiling?
Yeah, the presentation breaks down the total addressable market for all trades, and it sits at roughly $1.5 trillion.
Massive. And out of that huge 1.5 trillion pie, they define their current served market at about 650 billion.
And the served market means the specific trades they actively support right now, right?
Exactly. The plumbing, electrical, HVAC, and their commercial equivalents.
Right. And of that 650 billion, their current customers account for about 86 billion in GTV over the last 12 months. Now, this brings us to a really crucial concept in their presentation. They call it the effective earn rate.
This is where the math gets really interesting.
It does. So currently, ServiceTitan captures slightly more than 1% of their customers' GTV as revenue. They're making just over $1 billion in annual revenue off that $86 billion in transaction volume.
Roughly a penny on the dollar.
Right. And they project that with full platform deployment, meaning when customers adopt all their available features, they can reach an effective earn rate of roughly 2%.
Which effectively doubles their revenue potential per customer.
Yeah, so if they hit that 2% across their entire $650 billion served market, their serviceable addressable market revenue jumps to $13 billion.
It's a huge runway for growth.
But wait, I'm stuck on this 1 to 2% number. Let me push back on this a little bit.
Sure, go for it.
If I'm a hardworking plumber or an HVAC business owner, and I'm operating on notoriously thin margins, why on earth would I give up 2 pennies of every single dollar I make to a software company? I mean, why wouldn't I just use a cheap Square reader and, like, a free Google Calendar?
It's a highly logical question, but you really have to look at what that 2% actually replaces in a contractor's daily life.
Okay, what does it replace?
Before a platform like ServiceTitan, a contractor was paying a separate software vendor for their customer relationship management tool, then another vendor for their accounting software, and yet another for fleet tracking and GPS.
Oh, so it's just a totally fragmented mess of subscriptions.
Exactly. Plus, they were paying standard credit card processing fees to a third-party merchant anyway, and they were shelling out money for disjointed marketing campaigns that they couldn't even accurately track.
So they didn't know if their ads were actually working.
Right. ServiceTitan completely replaces that entire fragmented stack. When a contractor gives up 1 to 2% of their revenue, they are instantly saving money on redundant software licenses.
I see. So the 2% isn't an extra fee on top of everything else.
Not at all. They're recovering a lost revenue from missed calls. They are drastically reducing the overhead of manual data entry, where a receptionist has to literally type a handwritten invoice into QuickBooks. It's a value exchange.
Okay, so it's not a tax, it's actually consolidation.
Precisely. And frankly, this reveals the true identity of the company. ServiceTitan is essentially a fintech engine disguised as a digital tool belt.
Oh, that's interesting.
By handling the payment processing directly, they integrate themselves so deeply that they become the financial lifeblood of the contractor.
Makes total sense.
And regarding that $30 billion long-term total addressable market they mention, that comes from eventually reaching completely unaddressed markets.
What are they doing right now?
Well, right now, they don't even serve heavy commercial and construction. They don't serve the down market, which they define as businesses with fewer than 5 technicians. There are entirely separate, massive industries they haven't even touched yet.
Well, but, just saving a business owner a few bucks on consolidated software licenses, I don't think that's quite enough to earn that 2% cut.
No, you have to offer more than just basic savings.
Right. To convince a contractor to hand over the digital keys to their entire livelihood, you have to fundamentally change how they make money in the field. The presentation describes their solution as a full-service platform combining CRM, field service management, fintech, enterprise resource planning, and human capital management.
It's quite the alphabet soup.
It really is. Hold on, let's translate those last two for our listeners. When they say ERP and HCM, they essentially mean the back office heavy lifting, right? Like payroll, human resources, inventory tracking, and supply chain management.
Precisely. It is the core operational nervous system of the business. To understand how they justify their price tag, you have to look at the mechanics of the workflow they create. Let's walk through a realistic scenario.
Okay, lay it out for us.
Imagine a local HVAC company using ServiceTitan. It all starts at lead generation. A homeowner searches for AC repair on Google and clicks an ad. ServiceTitan tracks that specific ad straight to the phone call.
So no more guessing where the lead came from.
Right. When the call center answers, the software instantly brings up the homeowner's history. Then we move to dispatching. And this is not just a calendar dragging and dropping appointments.
Yeah, the presentation actually mentions skill-based matching and AI routing here. How does that actually work in practice, like on the ground?
Well, skill-based matching isn't just a buzzword. It is a physical cost saver. Let's say a commercial job requires a master electrician to legally pull a specific permit.
Okay.
The ServiceTitan dispatch software physically will not allow the dispatcher to assign a junior technician to that job.
Oh, wow. It completely blocks the error.
Exactly. If a junior tech goes out there, realizes they can't do the work, and has to drive back, the business just wasted a 2-hour truck roll. That directly hits the bottom line. And the AI routing ensures the right tech goes to the right job, using the most fuel-efficient route.
Okay, so the AI gets the right tech to the house efficiently. What happens when they're actually on site?
This is the perform the job phase. The technician walks up to the door holding a tablet. Before they even knock, they have mobile job history and property intelligence.
Wait, property intelligence? Like what?
Like, they might know the exact age of the AC unit based on previous visits or even public data pulled into the app. They assess the unit, and instead of scribbling a quote on a carbon copy pad, they use custom forms to present a digital good, better, best pricing tier to the homeowner right there in the living room.
Oh, that's smart. It looks super professional.
Exactly. It builds trust, and it naturally increases the average ticket size because the homeowner has clear options.
And then comes the fintech magic at the bottom of the funnel, right?
You guessed it. Once the homeowner chooses the best option, say, a $15,000 full AC replacement, the payment and invoicing happen instantly.
And what if they don't have 15 grand lying around?
That's the best part. If the homeowner can't afford $15,000 in cash, ServiceTitan provides integrated consumer financing on the spot. The homeowner gets approved in minutes, the job gets booked, the technician performs the work, and the payment is processed immediately.
So no more chasing down checks.
Right. You don't have paper invoices sitting on a receptionist's desk for 30 days while the business waits for the mail. And finally, the back office operations take over. The system automatically updates the accounting ledger, calculates the job's profitability, and adjusts the inventory so the warehouse knows they are down one AC unit.
Man, so when we look at that entire chain, the real driver of profitable growth isn't just one isolated feature. It is the interconnectivity of it all.
Yep.
Fixing the workflow does two completely distinct things for the contractor. First, it widens the top of the funnel. With marketing optimization, you know exactly which Facebook or Google ads are turning into actual booked jobs, not just vanity clicks. So you win more business.
That's right.
And second, it aggressively accelerates cash flow at the bottom of the funnel. You win a $15,000 job, you secure financing instantly, and you get the cash into your bank account faster. That cash flow acceleration is the absolute lifeblood of a small to medium-sized business.
That is the exact mechanism of their success. You are taking a chaotic, unpredictable service business and applying rigorous, automated enterprise logic to it.
So let's look at how they actually package and sell this massive digital engine. Because the presentation outlines a very clear land and expand strategy.
Right, they don't sell everything all at once to a new customer.
Exactly. Every single customer starts with a core product. This core includes the essential field service management, the payroll, the inventory tracking, and the CRM. And over 95% of ServiceTitan's revenue currently comes from this platform revenue.
Which makes sense as the foundation.
But then they have a whole ecosystem of pro products designed to upsell the customer as they grow.
Right. The onboarding for the core product requires heavy lifting, but once a customer has standardized their entire operation on ServiceTitan, they inevitably hit new bottlenecks as they scale.
Which is a good problem to have, but still a problem.
Exactly. And that is where the pro products come in. They offer Marketing Pro to automate email campaigns, Contact Center Pro to handle overflow calls, Pricebook Pro which automatically updates parts pricing so inflation doesn't eat the contractor's margins.
Oh, that is crucial right now.
Totally. And Fleet Pro for vehicle management. Each of these add-ons addresses a very specific pain point with a clear return on investment.
And laid underneath all of this is that fintech revenue we talked about. They process credit cards, checks, and facilitate that consumer financing, and they take a percentage of the transaction on a net basis.
It's a brilliant model.
It is.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at their customer breakdown here, and something really stands out to me.
Oh, yeah.
They have roughly 10,800 active customers. However, the presentation highlights that over 2,000 of those customers generate more than $100,000 in annualized billings each. And those 2,000 customers account for over 60% of ServiceTitan's total annualized billings.
It's quite top-heavy.
Honestly, that looks like a vulnerability to me. If over 60% of your money is coming from just a fraction of your customer base, these big enterprise whales, aren't you just riding their coattails? Like, what happens if these massive plumbing conglomerates decide to just hire a dev team and build their own software?
It's a common concern when looking at enterprise software for sure, but the mechanics of their pricing model actually turn that concentration into an expansion mode.
How does that work?
ServiceTitan charges either by the size of the business or on a per-technician subscription basis. So think about what happens when one of those 2,000 large customers acquires a smaller regional competitor. Or they just open a new branch and hire 20 new HVAC technicians.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
ServiceTitan doesn't have to spend a single marketing dollar to acquire those 20 new users. Their revenue automatically grows as their best customers grow. They are directly indexed to the success of the most dominant players in the trades.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about the risk of a massive plumbing company just building its own software?
Well, the sheer complexity of what we just discussed makes that highly prohibitive. To build your own software, you aren't just building a scheduling calendar. You have to build a custom ERP to handle payroll and complex inventory, a CRM, and a fully compliant fintech stack to handle consumer lending.
Yeah, that's not exactly weekend work for a couple of coders.
It's corporate open-heart surgery. A plumbing conglomerate wants to fix pipes and acquire competitors. They do not want to manage a team of 50 software engineers.
Right, they want to stay in their lane.
Furthermore, because ServiceTitan takes a percentage of the transaction volume through their fintech layer, as inflation drives up the cost of materials, or as the contractor starts taking on higher-value commercial jobs, ServiceTitan's usage-based revenue scales up right alongside them. It creates a powerful, self-reinforcing loop.
So they are effectively inflation-proofed through the payment processing layer. That is brilliant.
It really is.
All right, we've seen the scale, we've walked through the workflow, and we understand the expansion mode. To bring this deep dive home, we have to look under the hood at the company's financial discipline. Because, as we've seen plenty of times, having a cool product doesn't guarantee a sustainable business.
Absolutely. The numbers have to work.
Let's look at the engine room slide outlining their financial targets. The metric that jumps off the page immediately is their net dollar retention rate. It sits at over 110% for Q1 of FY27.
That is an exceptional number.
For anyone listening who might not live and breathe SaaS metrics, net dollar retention, or NDR, measures how much your existing customers spend with you over time, even factoring in the customers who cancel, downgrade, or go out of business.
Right. It's the net growth of an existing cohort.
Exactly. So if your NDR is over 100%, it means your existing user base is spending more new money with you than you are losing from people quitting. Your leaky bucket is literally filling itself. But in the trades, an industry known for small business turnover, retirements, and bankruptcies, how is a 110% retention rate even possible?
It is exceptionally rare, I'll give you that, and it speaks entirely to the stickiness of the workflow we detailed earlier.
The interconnectivity thing.
Yes. If you sell a generic email marketing tool to a small business and times get tough, they will cancel that subscription tomorrow to save cash. But once an HVAC contractor integrates ServiceTitan into their daily dispatching, their payroll, their parts inventory, and their primary method of getting paid by homeowners ripping that software out is virtually impossible.
It would just cause total chaos.
It would bring the entire physical operation to a grinding halt. So the 110% NDR proves that despite the natural churn of small businesses closing, the surviving customers are upgrading their subscriptions, they're adding more technicians, and they're pushing so much transaction volume through the fintech layer that it far outpaces any losses.
And that stickiness directly fuels their efficiency. They're targeting a customer acquisition cost, or BASA, payback period of 24 months.
Meaning it takes them 2 years of subscription revenue to recoup the sales and marketing dollars they spent to acquire that new plumbing company.
Right. And in the software world, 2 years is a very healthy payback period, especially when you know the customer is functionally locked in for a decade. After month 24, that subscription revenue is essentially pure growth.
Which naturally leads to their aggressive long-term targets.
Yeah, they want to expand their non-GAAP gross margin from the mid-70s to approximately 77%. They plan to drop sales and marketing expenses to between 20 and 22% of revenue. And ultimately, they are steering toward a roughly 25% non-GAAP operating margin with a target free cash flow conversion of greater than 90%.
The mechanism behind that gross margin expansion is vital to understand.
Okay, walk us through it.
In their financials, they break revenue into 2 buckets. You have platform revenue and professional services and other. Professional services involve the intense, human-led heavy lifting of onboarding a contractor.
Like migrating their data and training their staff.
Exactly. That work operates at a much lower, sometimes even negative gross margin. It is very expensive to do. But because of that extreme stickiness we talked about, once the onboarding is done, the customer just pays their high-margin software subscription year after year.
Oh, so as the base of older customers grows, the margins just get better and better.
You've got it. As the pool of tenured customers grows relative to brand new customers, the overall gross margin of the company naturally drifts upward toward that 77% target. They are mathematically engineering a highly durable, enterprise machine.
So if you're listening to this and wondering why you should care about enterprise software for plumbers, think about the journey we just took. We started with a burst pipe and a frantic phone call, and we uncovered a massive digital engine powering the physical infrastructure of our neighborhoods.
It's pretty wild when you step back and look at it.
It really is. ServiceTitan isn't just an app on a tablet. They have built the digital bedrock for the $1.5 trillion trades industry. They created a high-margin, sticky business model by aligning their software directly with the daily cash flow and operational survival of over 10,000 businesses.
Exactly. They recognize that a trades professional is essentially running a highly complex logistics, sales, and supply chain operation out of the back of a moving van.
Which is insane to think about.
It is. And by giving them enterprise-grade tools tailored specifically to the realities of the field, ServiceTitan has unlocked billions of dollars in efficiency.
But, as we always do, we want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. Something that pushes a bit beyond the Q1 financials we've discussed today.
Always got to look to the future.
Exactly. So look back at the Not Addressed Today slide regarding their market opportunity. Right now, ServiceTitan completely ignores the down market. Those are the very small, independent businesses with fewer than 5 technicians.
The guys with just 1 or 2 trucks.
Right. Currently, this massive AI-powered enterprise capability is reserved exclusively for the bigger players who can actually afford it. But think about the rapid advancement of technology. We know software inevitably gets cheaper, and AI continually lowers the barrier to entry for complex administrative tasks.
That's a really interesting point.
If ServiceTitan, or perhaps a new disruptor in the space, ever figures out how to package this exact level of AI dispatching, automated accounting, and marketing optimization for the lone independent contractor operating out of a single truck, could it fundamentally alter the entire independent tradesman landscape?
It would completely level the playing field.
It really would. Ponder what a fully digitized, AI-routed, hyper-efficient gig economy of independent master plumbers and electricians looks like for the future of our neighborhoods. Something to think about. Until next time, keep diving deep.